Yes, back to discussions. Uh, there's this thing that started trending in the esports industry that shocked everyone, especially like mass audience. It's the fact that Team Liquid lost their Honda sponsorship, and we're about to find out reasons why that happened. So, yep, so here we go. Um,
in esports during a time where every dollar matters for this industry. One tweet was all it took to throw your career and potentially the careers of others into chaos. One tweet was all it took. But how bad can one tweet really be?
one, yeah, one tweet can be seriously bad. Like, um, you guys have no idea. Anyway, moving on.
Last week, Team Liquid's all-Brazilian Rainbow Six Siege roster was defeated by Japanese org CAG Osaka at Reload 2025. Following the match,
CAG is Cyclops, by the way, for those of you guys that don't know. That's my knowledge to this, because I was a former Rainbow Six Siege pro, semi-pro, semi-pro. I think I'd say that. And yeah, I think just my love for that industry and whatnot. But then like I moved on, and nowadays I dabble a lot more in Counter Strike, CS2, and a little bit of Rocket League here and there. But yeah, my knowledge for Rainbow Six is still there. It hasn't died down yet. So yeah, that's how I know.
TL's relatively new addition, Diaz Lucas BR, tweeted, quote, "We beat FaZe but lost to the very strong CAG," followed by a gif of a nuclear bomb falling from the sky and detonating, which comes from a BBC documentary dramatizing the bombing of Hiroshima. The tweet...
Oh my word. I know Diaz Lucas. I can't remember it was which particular team, but he's based in LATAM, that's Latin America, Brazil, South American region. Those guys, definitely from Brazil. You can even see his Twitter. It has BR at the end, so definitely it means Brazil. I can't remember which team it was, but seeing that he's on Liquid now and he decides to post something like that is atrocious. Like, how do you get to that level? So I don't know if that was intended as a jab, some form of communication, or it was intentionally offensive. But
It has since been deleted for reasons I hope are obvious, but I'll explain anyway. The United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan in 1945, potentially killed up to 240,000 people, mostly civilians, by the end of that year alone. It remains a devastating moment in human history, and safe to say, not something you should be evoking the imagery of, especially against a Japanese team. Of course, the tweet eventually reached the Japanese Siege community, who were outraged by this insensitive post. Shortly after that, Diaz deleted the original tweet and issued an apology. In the apology, Diaz says that he regrets the post from the bottom of his heart, but it was never his intention to make an offensive reference. He continues saying that he apologized to the members of CAG in person, and specifically highlights his regret to the Japanese fans, especially those in Brazil, who are incredibly significant to the country.
yeah, because I would think Diaz Lucas, if I'm not wrong, does not have a track record of responding to people in such a manner. At no one point have I ever seen him do something to evoke like people's negative emotions. Even in my experience in like watching CG Sports, I've never seen or heard him make that much noise like the way what is happening right now. So yeah, that is awkward. It's not awkward, but it's very weird that it was taken to that proportion. I'm not validating exactly what he did, but in that context, still, I kind of feel like the way he's responded, it actually does sound like it wasn't intended. I think it just didn't come out well.
those that don't know, Brazil
Yeah.
contains the largest diaspora of Japanese people in the world.
So there's
On
something
top
more
of
to
that,
it
Brazil
than
fought
that.
for the Allies in World War II, which led to tensions with the Japanese population in their country at the time. Diaz didn't claim ignorance, which at the very least is the mature thing to do. Still, it doesn't cancel out how stupid and sensitive it was to post
Yeah.
this. As
Yeah.
the backlash continued,
Yes.
Team Liquid released their own statement, further apologizing and announcing that Diaz is being fined 4 months' salary and undergoing 6 months of sensitivity training, on top of all the prize money from the event
Yikes.
being donated to charity. They further support the claim that this post was not meant to be an actual reference to the atomic bombings. And Liquid founder Nazgul also boosted this claim, saying that Diaz just looked up, quote,
Yikes.
falling bomb, and the GIF was in reference to how his team blew up. Some people online seem to accept this excuse, but the vast majority of others did not. And sure, I
Yeah.
can buy that this was just a stupid mistake and not a direct reference to be toxic to the Japanese team that they just lost to.
I
Still,
think so,
actions
yeah.
have consequences regardless of intent. And
Yeah.
as a result of this single tweet, one of Liquid's biggest sponsors, Honda, has pulled out of their 6-year-long partnership with the organization, citing this incident as being incompatible with the automotive company's values. As a Japanese
my.
company, this isn't all too shocking of a move, but devastating nonetheless.
Yeah.
Sponsors are important now more than ever, and I just hope that jobs aren't lost because of this.
Yeah.
That being said, former Liquid employee Tracy Parks, who penned this deal, said Honda was already considering moving their investment. This was just the catalyst.
Well, if he's the one that actually mediated that deal, I'm sure he knows more than meets the eye. So if he says it, then I think that's the case. Honda was considering leaving the esports industry. They just didn't have a way of communicating that. But it looks like this has provided them with that way out, and a very fast, immediate one. So
Regardless of the
unfortunate.
true reasoning, many online are calling this the most expensive tweet in esports history, and
Yeah.
highlighting the insanity of that since Diaz.
No, it's not the most expensive. The most expensive one to date is TSM FTX. That one was painful, very painful. Have you heard of TSM to date? We haven't. And speaking of, even in the League of Legends space, LCS, still haven't heard of them, by the way. I don't know if I'm correct, but I did hear that they gave up their slot to some other team. I don't know which one it is, but it's very unfortunate because I'm pretty sure, like, that was it. It was a $1 billion deal or something. Yeah, and then FTX gets into like a financial industry scandal. The owner gets sent to prison, and then the team is left in a big mess. They can't even handle their own business. So yeah, it was very, very unfortunate that happened. So
Was signed less than a month ago.
This is
Others
probably
have
the
come to
second
player's
one.
defense, claiming that Diaz hasn't shown a history of insensitivity, but
and I told you, by the way, Diaz has not had any single issue in the space where he talks ill or speaks ill of someone else or is toxic to any degree. This one is just a first, so it was not interpreted properly. So yeah, not that I'm vouching for him, but looking at the context of it, even the apology, to me it feels genuine. And literally, the owner of the team, Team Liquid, Nazgul, has said it. And the guy who penned the deal between Honda and Liquid just said, Honda was looking to bounce. So, if anything,
again,
they were already out. They were
although
already
this has
out.
led to Liquid losing Honda, some don't think the punishment has gone far enough. Personally, the shame alone is enough punishment for me. I can't imagine the regret that Diaz feels right now.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not Japanese. But more than anything, I just blame how brain broken the internet has made us. Seeing imagery of the
I think this guy should not have said that. It's not the fact that you're not Japanese, but I'd say, me on my end, I do empathize with the Japanese people after that tweet, because I know the years of trauma that has caused to so many families in Japan. So, yeah, I wouldn't make any sarcastic comments about what happened, to be
The
honest.
atomic bombs, or any bomb, or literally any tragedy being used ironically or sarcastically feels like commonplace.
Thank
Getting
you.
into why that is
Thank you.
another video for a different channel. But if I could say one thing, it's to remember that a moment in history class for you could be a devastating memory for someone else.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content...
Yeah, so that is crazy. I actually feel for the I feel for Team Liquid, but I feel even much more for the people that were hurt by that tweet. As it said, the tweet was deleted, but of course, the internet does not forget. So I'm sure they already picture screenshots, things that were already taken whilst that tweet was still present. So I think it's still retrievable either way. But I wouldn't push for people to like put this in memory. This is probably the second most expensive tweet. Well, the most expensive tweet, but if you're talking sponsorships, probably the second largest sponsorship loss that an esports team has encountered in the space to date. So yeah, very sad, very, very sad indeed. So also empathy to any Japanese audience also that could have seen that or are even watching this video if they are. Yeah. Wow. And we know for a fact it's not even mine is the empathy for the guys in Japan, and on top of which, for the esports space, that is a huge loss. Who is to know what is going to happen next? I'm pretty sure probably Team Liquid is going to look for another automobile sponsor since they've lost that one. So we're gonna see where things go. So who knows? I mean, we still have, I think, Kia. Kia is still in the space. I can't remember specifically which team, but I know Kia is there. I know, I don't know, 100 Thieves is sponsored by Lexus, I think, if I'm not wrong. So, yeah. Lexus, Toyota, I mean, those guys have owned it right now. There was FaZe with Nissan, so I don't know whether Nissan is still sponsoring FaZe, but who knows? That's that. So yeah, yeah, guys, that's a huge loss for the team. Let's hope they'll bounce back. For the rest of the teams that are also, for the rest of the guys who are not affected by any of this, I mean, that is just information for you to know. So yeah, for esports, esports is still not out of the winter yet, and that's because it's an expensive operation in itself, and people need money here and there so that they can run their operations effectively. So that's a very sad loss. So